Okay, guys, so we're all so excited about this call tonight, and I'm gonna open this up really quickly and then turn it over to Mary Ann, and then I'll close this out. But what I want you to know from me is that every director struggled with this. I know at least two of my three directors and myself struggled with this, and we were able to overcome it. And I think it's just a very common struggle. Um, Another thing that I've recognized about myself in this business is that I have been able to break a generational curse in my family, and you know, I owe it all to God and to Mary Kay and the personal growth that I had with training like this. Some of us have, we're generation changers in the form of financial, or the bondage of broke, or alcoholism, or even education. Like, I'm the first to graduate. I didn't know anybody as far as I knew back in my family that ever graduated high school, and I was the first. And my son is only the third. So my niece was the second, and my son is the third. And so that is a generational curse. So we all have different things in our family. And Mary Ann's I'm going to turn it over to Mary Ann, and she's going to run with it. And then I will close this out. So have at it, Mary Ann.
All right, you guys. So tonight we're talking about how your raising affects your rising. And so really talking about the things that you learned and what you were brought up with, how it affects where you go in life. And so, the truth is, this all came from talking about limiting beliefs, and those are thoughts that you're not aware of that affect your actions, and that affects where you're going, what you're doing. So the truth is that we are where we are today as a result of all of our thoughts and actions compounded over time up until this point. So there is a reason why you and I are in the positions that we are in right now, good or bad or in between. It's because of our thoughts that drove our actions. And so sometimes we're in places where we did not want to be. And thankfully, Mary Kay is a tool to get us out and to get us to places where we want to be, but that will never happen if we don't correct our thoughts that got us here in the first place. So tonight I pray that you would just, ask God to open your heart and open your eyes and give you some new revelation of some thoughts that are holding you back. Maybe some limiting beliefs that you've been carrying a long time throughout your family, and it's time to shift that. So you can't ever change anything that you're not aware of, like if you're an angry person and you don't realize that, you're not going to change. You're not going to stop being angry or pursue that journey of how to not be angry anymore because you think you're totally fine, So I hope tonight brings in awareness. And even if I don't mention some of the things, I hope that you have that thought of something. So just be aware of your thoughts. If thoughts come to you while I'm talking, make sure you write them down because they're really important. So Linda Tupin, she has a famous quote. It's something like, "I am where I am today because of my choices or the choices that I've allowed others to make for me." Okay. So it's not my fault. Okay. One way or another, it is. So we're going to change that. Thankfully, with this business, it has the opportunity to give us something more or something new that we don't have, whether it's we came in for personal growth or for increased income or for more confidence or a better quality of friends or maybe the ability to do more with your family or to have experiences in your family that you've never been able to do before. So whatever your reason is for your Mary Kay, and it can be just one thing right now. It may have grown if you've been in here for a little while. So we have to move from where we are to where we want to go. And to do that, you have to identify the thoughts that could be holding you back or have been holding you back. Let's see. There's a statistics about how many thoughts we think of a day. I've heard 60,000, 80,000. It doesn't matter. We think thousands of thoughts a day. But the thing that is similar is that about 90% of those thoughts are the thoughts that you thought yesterday and the day before that and the day before that. They're just habits. And so for us to be able to change, we have got to correct that 90% to a larger percentage being newer thoughts, or else we're just going to keep repeating the same 90% of our life. Okay. So, thoughts can be given to us how we were raised, just by what you hear, what you experienced, the influences around you in your workplace, what you listen to, what you see on social media, TV, commercials, and also what we choose to feed it. Like, if I choose to listen to a podcast or a training, or I choose to listen to a certain type of music, or I choose to read books, or I choose to get on our Sunday night calls. It's a great way to change your thoughts. All right, let's turn the page. I made my notes while sitting at the table that apparently had honey stuck to it. My page is a little stuck. Okay, so how you're raising affects your rising. I'm going to talk today specifically about a poverty mentality. And it has several limiting beliefs in there that we have to be made aware of. And poverty mentality, it's a deep-seated mentality that says there's never enough. There's never enough. And persistent thoughts and words such as, I can't afford that, or I'll never have enough money to do that. They basically become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, the more you keep saying that, the more it's going to be true. They often think that things won't ever get much better. So, like, even if you get a college education, you still in the back of your mind think, I'm still just going to be, living paycheck to paycheck. We might have a house and 2 cars and Netflix, but it's still going to be hard. That's your persistent thought. Or they often talk about what they don't have. We don't have that, or we can't do that. And they're just always, lots of the conversations are revolved around money in a negative way. And they just kind of feel like they're shackled to the life that they have right now, like that they grew up with, and the life that they're living now. Some of the signs of a poverty mentality is a fixation on money or a lack thereof. So they might have a lot of money, but they're so like, every decision is major, and the motivation behind it, every decision that is made is based on money. Okay. So whether you have a lot or little, an anti-rich people mentality. So kind of like when you see someone who's wealthier than you, or has more than you, or has nicer things than you, you kind of scoff and like snarl under your breath and think, maybe that they cheated their way up there, or that they're just not a good person because they have so much money, that you just automatically assume that they're selfish, that all they do is spend money on themselves, and that they should probably, give to the poor more. Just automatically. That's just how you think. It's an anti-rich person mentality. Fear-based decision making. Okay, so this it doesn't always involve money, but just all of your decisions are based out of fear, and not, fear of what could happen, all the bad things that could happen, instead of what are the good things that could happen. So I want to tell you about how I realized I had this kind of thinking and how it was affecting my business. When I first got started, first of all, I was really scared to sell product. I loved it. It fixed my face. I mean, literally, one side was bright and lifted, and the other side literally looked like I had a stroke. It was kind of like hanging like this. I thought drool was going to come out of this side of my mouth, the left side that didn't have the Serum C and didn't have the microderm. I was like, well, dang, if I use this every day, I'm going to look like a supermodel. Because that was another insecurity of mine. You like always worried about how I think or how I look. And so I found value in it. So I got the business, but I just didn't want to sell it to anybody because I was ready to tell me no. Okay. So as I worked through skincare classes and just kind of tried to hammer this out, because there was a part of me that wanted to do it, that loved it, that saw the value, that people would come over to my house and just buy product off the shelf while I'm nursing a baby. So I'm like, there's got to be some good to this. So I tried, but what I found was when I got to that individual close, I didn't want to ask them if they wanted to buy anything, if they wanted to take anything home. Like, I had the words, I'd practiced them, they just would not come out of my mouth. I would figure out different things to say besides, do you want to take this home? What do you want to take home with you today? Is there anything that you would like to take home with you today? What was your favorite? I don't even know what I would come up with now. But basically, I would skirt around the sale. And of course, I would, stomp my foot later, like, oh, she totally wanted that stuff, but I didn't ask her, and she only bought like one thing, but I think she would have bought more. Or, let's see. I was afraid to team build because even though I started with inventory, I chose to start with inventory. We saw value in it. We thought it was great to get the free stuff. We thought it was smart to have product on our shelf. I was afraid to ask people to do an interview because I thought, oh my gosh, if we ask them to get inventory, maybe it's going to like totally crush their budget and they're going to be homeless. And so I really don't want to ask her if she wants to do this. Like crazy, huh? Even though I totally did it already myself. Okay. So where did these come from? So my dad, he was born in like 1939, tail end of the Depression, and his family was poor. They grew up on a farm, like 10 of their family members all lived together in one house. And so, you know, they worked really hard. I think sometimes for Christmas they would get an orange. I don't remember if it was for the whole family or just one person, you know, like poor as he called it, because he lived in Missouri. And he too was one of the first ones to finish high school and college. He was an engineer. He made a wonderful life for us. You know, we lived, my mom got to be at home with us. She didn't ever have to work. We had 2 cars. We got to go to theme parks regularly. We got to travel. And, but I do remember our clothes, we always got them from Goodwill, like always got them from Goodwill, you know, and lots of things. I remember him often talking about, you know, that's just too expensive, or like that's stupid. He was a D personality too. So if it was too pricey, it was stupid. I could just remember how he would say it. So I learned to not like certain things above a certain price point. It was just stupid. And so I've lived a very frugal life. But I have learned that it had affected the way I viewed my business, because before Mary Kay, I didn't buy $100 skincare. I didn't buy skincare, period. If I did, I'd look for the cheapest stuff, you know, because that's how I was taught how to shop. You always look for the cheapest thing. Okay. That was my mentality. And so I brought that with me, that even though I loved the product, I thought it was the best stuff in the world, I believed in the company, I still thought it was too expensive for everybody else. That's not my business. Okay. So, let's see, a couple things. I didn't learn about budgeting growing up. The only conversation about money was, that's too expensive. So that it was like a unhealthy extreme. So money is a great thing and there's great ways to talk about it. But ours, you know, I had to learn that as I got older, how to budget and things like that. Most people with a poverty mentality don't really know how to budget. So I want to talk about the different ways that it can show up specifically in your Mary Kay business as an entrepreneur. So think if you've ever thought these thoughts before. For example, if someone was wanting to start their Mary Kay business and they had all the reasons to start it, like they wanted to make the extra money, they wanted the personal growth, they wanted to help their family out, they have the $100 to buy it. And you know, we've showed them how they can fit it in their schedule. We showed them how we teach them how to be confident and everything. But fear is so gripping their heart. It's like a heart attack. Like they're so scared to start because it's fear-based decisions. Like their decision is solely based in fear. Okay. Might have a poverty mentality. You think that the guests won't be able to afford the products. And so you don't show the full ultimate miracle set. You like water down the presentation and just show a couple of things that are low price points because you think that's what maybe they can afford. That's a sign of a poverty mentality and it holds you back. So then maybe not showing the set sheets because you're afraid that the price of the products is going to scare them off and they're going to run out of the house and like cuss you out or something. That's a sign of a poverty mentality, is not showing the set sheets. Or during the individual close, like me, you feel awkward or won't ask if they want to buy the products. And another way that poverty mentality shows up is not growing your inventory, not growing your store, or, you know, not choosing not to ever make an investment in it if you're not going to grow it. It's just kind of keeping it at like bare minimum always and never doing anything about it. Not personally using the products, even though you have them on your shelf. That was me. Oh my gosh. Like eventually I had one of everything, but I was giving myself a budget like I did before Mary Kay. I would only pull a new product off the shelf, like one product a month, even though I had them all. So like I was waiting for the next month to use the lash primer. It's just sitting on my shelf, not doing anything. So one day I finally wised up and I was like, I already paid for it all. Just use it. So I went and grabbed it all and saved all the boxes for tax write-offs. Being afraid to team build because you're afraid to lose a customer. Okay, this is a very specific situation. Let's say she is a regular customer. Maybe she orders 3 times a year, but she's mentioned to you that she needs just a little extra income. She's trying to find a second job, but she's having a hard time because she just doesn't have the time to go do another job. And you don't say, well, can I tell you about how, have you ever considered Mary Kay? Can I tell you a little bit how that might work for you? And you can decide whether or not that works for you. You think to yourself, if she becomes my team member, I'm not going to make 50% profit anymore. And so you don't tell her. That's a poverty mentality. Okay. You are so fixated on that 50% profit that you won't offer this to someone so that their life can be changed. There's plenty of customers out there. You can always get another one. Okay. See that mentality of there's not enough customers. If she's gone, I'll never have any more customers and I'll never make any more money. That's a poverty mentality. Okay. Or B, thinking that when you go to team build that the $100 kit might scare her off. So you don't tell her about it. Let's see. All right. So how do we fix these thoughts? So you've got to recognize the negative thoughts, the ones that aren't true, and you've got to replace them. So how I overcame, for me specifically, sitting down for that individual close, I realized we have the best value. We have the best product and at the best price point. If you look at other skincare lines and add all the products together that can do the things that our skincare sets can do, most of those skincare lines are $400, $600, and $879. Wouldn't it be so much better if someone only spent $110 or $205 or $45 for a skincare that works, that gets results? So for someone who was a bargain shopper, this was so great to offer. I was so excited to offer it to my customers because I was like, oh my gosh, I am giving them the most least expensive but working skincare system. I realized the value. So not only are we having the best quality with the best price point, they also get me, the consultant, and I am priceless. If they go to the store, they don't get a consultant. They don't get someone to check up on them. I told Melissa the other day, I'd taken my kids to the little clinic, which is it's almost like an ER in Kroger, but it's not as busy. So it's just little clinic to go to. And because they had the flu, and about 2 days later, the doctor called and said, hey, just want to check on your kids, see how they're doing. And I was like, these people, they're not our primary doctors. And the fact that they called us and checked on us, I was so blessed. I was like, this is so awesome. That's what happens when we're beauty consultants. We follow up with them. And, 2 days after they get the skincare system, and I'm telling you, on the other side of the phone, on the other side of the text message, your customers they feel so special. I mean, they do not get this kind of treatment anywhere else. So, just our 2+2 program, following up with them is priceless. And plus, you're helping them fix their skin. If you've ever had problem skin and the struggle of trying to find a skincare system that works, it is so hard. And so since Mary Kay works, when I share this product with them and when they choose to buy it, their skin is going to get better. And oh my gosh, what a blessing. That is serving people to the max. You are helping them fix their problem that is affecting their self-confidence. And so when they buy my skincare system, essentially they're getting self-confidence as a freebie. Holy cow, I want everybody to use this because it's so good. It's going to help them. Plus, if they can't afford the products right away, I'm going to show them how much it costs because they need to know. They need to be able to mentally do math. I'm like, okay, is this in my budget? Okay, great. Well, I didn't spend money on my hair this month, so I have extra money in my skincare budget. Sweet, I'll just switch that over. But if we don't tell them the price, they don't know. Okay. And if they can't afford it at the moment, they have the opportunity to get it at a discount or free because we have a second appointment with a hostess program. Other skincare companies can't do that. They can't go to Lancome and say, can I host a party and you give me $100 off? No, it is not an option. They will look like idiots if they do that. So you are saving them from looking like a fool by offering them this amazing opportunity to get it for free. It is such a blessing. And so that's why we have that individual close. Mary Kay Ash was so smart. That's why we want you to pull them away from the table, bring them to an area where you can talk privately, so that way you can talk about how to make it work, how to, budget or earn it for free or whatever. So you have that private opportunity built in there to fix that problem. Let's see. Next, have you ever gone to the grocery store and picked up some salmon or some steaks, and the person who was about to serve you said, "I'm sorry, I don't think you can afford this. I'm not going to give it to you." Oh, if somebody would have done that to me, I would have been so hot. I'd be like, "Give me the cuss word steak. I want it." And so if we choose for ourselves mentally whether or not someone can afford something, that's essentially what you're doing. You're telling them that they can't afford it. And if you wouldn't want somebody to do that to you, I don't do it to other people. And so you let them decide. Okay, we're not deciding for them. We're giving them an option. Just like when the server asks you, "Do you want, sweet tea or Coke to drink?" And you say water. It's your choice, but you have to offer. Okay, so that's what we do as consultants, is we give them their options and we let them decide. Okay, let's see. Talking about inventory. So what I learned is that actually having more product on my shelf helps me to make money faster. It was an aha moment that probably took me 3 years to learn. I think it might have been 4, because let's say you're at a full store, you get to take a larger profit. When you're at a full store, you get to take a 50% profit. So if you need to pay back an investment, then you actually have more money to pay it back with from your Mary Kay. Whereas if you're just have a smaller store, maybe you're doing an 80-20 split or a 60-40 split. If you're doing only the 80-20, you only have 20% of that profit to be able to pay back your investment and give yourself a profit. So like 10% and 10%, like that's going to take you longer. That's just how it is. You can do it. It's just going to take you longer. So I learned that if someone chooses and can come in with inventory or build up to inventory, that they're going to make money faster and they're going to be more successful faster. And that I want them to be successful faster. So it's a good thing if that's their choice. But I've got to give them their options. Let's see. It also can help them with their credit score. Yay, I had horrible credit because no one taught me about it. Lordy Pete. And thank God for Mary Kay. I've been able to grow that for like free. It's really great because all my profits, it didn't come out of my teaching salary, my husband's job. It came out of my Mary Kay profits. Let's see. I want you to think about the reasons why you said yes to a Mary Kay opportunity. Why did you say yes? Why do you love Mary Kay? And what if someone decided not to tell you about it? What if your recruiter didn't tell you about it? How would you feel? Michelle, I'd be mad at you. Okay, so I'm not mad at you. Thank you for telling me. So just think about it that way. If sometimes you kind of feel fearful of telling people about this opportunity. Let's see. Okay, so I mentioned using the product personally, how to fix that thought. Yes, if it's on your shelf, you already bought it. So it's just like if you were to go buy a new outfit and you just hung it on your rack, in your closet, and you're like, I don't know if I should wear that or not. You already bought it. You wear it no matter what. In fact, you can't wait to wear it. You usually wear it as soon as you get home or the very next day. So same thing with your products. They're already bought. You just use them. And then plus they are a tax deduction. So it actually, helps you to get your money back. Plus, the more products you wear, the more awesome your face looks, and you're a better advertisement, which means you're going to sell more products. The more you wear, the more you're going to sell. And so it's actually a benefit to wear your Mary Kay head to toe and to pull it off the shelf. So a couple other ways to fix your thoughts is you have to feed it the good stuff. What comes in goes out. And so if lots of negative and yucky stuff is coming out, that means that's what's being put in or has been put in. And so sometimes you have to be very intentional And that means listening to, our Sunday night training, listening to our Mary Kay training from, our top people, reading books that we recommend for you guys, listening to podcasts. So I love music. You guys, most of you know, I'm a dancer. Like, music is the air I breathe, but I really don't listen to it that much anymore because I just want to grow like so bad in so many different ways. And I'm always listening to things to grow me. And that is how I have changed my thinking over time, and hence has changed my actions. And then where, we are in our business. Saying my affirmations. I like to say things that are opposite of the negative things that I'm feeling or, doing at the time. And so, if you really struggle with a lack mentality, you might say something like, I am blessed. We are overflowing with blessings, and I'm a good steward, and I get to bless other people, so like feed your brain that, and that way it can change things. So that's my story. That's how I had that mental shift, and that's how I've been able to grow and get past like a little wall. So I hope that helped some of you guys. Michelle?
Yes, awesome. So I had a mental shift too, but mine was more over time. I think mine was easier to overcome. I would wear a rubber band around my wrist because I thought the same thing as Mary Ann. It took me a year and a half to sell a roll-up bag with the set, so I was not the best seller because I was worried about what everybody was spending. I had my hands in their pocket, just like all those things that Mary Ann said. And so I would get to the closing station, but I wanted to give everybody a discount. That was my thing. You get a discount, you get a discount, you get a discount. And I had to stop that because when I would get back home and I would look at what I sold, what I gave away, my hours, I knew I wasn't living up to what Mary Kay, our hourly expectations were. And so I started wearing a rubber band around my wrist, and I would sit there at that closing. And if I even thought about saying the word discount, I would just go pop myself. I know people thought I was crazy, but that worked over time. And when I sold my very first roll-up bag, I was like, I even said this, don't ever say this. I said, really? You want to buy a roll-up bag? And I'm ashamed to say this. I was actually in DIQ. So I was actually in qualifications to be a sales director. So I had to get this fixed. And after I sold that first roll-up bag, and plus I was using the product. That was another thing. I love this product. And I got to the point, really selling that product was the belief barrier. I broke the belief barrier. And when you sell that first roll-up bag, I think it's going to be a home run for you. But I got excited about wanting to show the product to everybody, all the products. And so I didn't, even now when we do our glamour stuff, I'm like, oh, what skincare do I have to take out so I can make sure that we end on time? And everybody's like, don't take out anything, because they know my system, because I love all the supplements. I love the skincare. And so if you're not using all the products, this is part of your problem too. You've got physically doing it is going to change that negative record that's playing. And so I have a quick little quote that says, and think about this, who is waiting for you to grow your dream bigger? So here's the deal. God already knows who is going to be on your team, who is going to be in your customer base, but you are not ready for them. You might not be ready for that person. I know that's why I'm still in the field. I know that is why I'm not a national sales director today, because God knows I have put in the time. But there's still somebody out there that's my belief is not big enough for her yet. And I know that because like I said, this is a journey of personal growth for me. Your calling, your character has to match your calling. And so when you start changing, and I've heard a national say this, act like who you want to be. I used to drive down the road and pretend like I was a national sales director. How would I swing my hair? How would I put on my glasses? How would I walk when I got out of the car? If I walked with a swag, we didn't call it that back then. If I walked with a sachet, I was walking to pretend like I was a national sales director until I started thinking like a national sales director. I don't know if you guys realize this, but not all sales directors have their own awards night. Okay, I've been having my own awards night. Not all sales directors have their own beach retreat. I've been having my own beach retreat for years. Not all sales directors. I mean, I have been acting like a sales director from the day I put on my director suit. So I want to leave you with this. Act like who you want to be, okay? Act like who you want to be, and you will start to transform into that person. So I want to, Trinity, is Trinity on? Trinity, do you want to share? Because I know you had some limiting beliefs about selling too in the beginning. Can you talk?
I'm here. I want to leave it with what you guys did. I've just got so many notes and I am just really sinking that in. So let me think on some of mine that were different because mine were really similar to Marianne's.
Yes. I know.
And maybe I could do some next week.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Yes. Trinity and Marianne were very, very similar. So we hope that this was helpful for you to change that, to learn how to ask for the sale. And if you want to learn more mechanics about asking for the sale, that might be a great new Zoom that we really just focus on. Next week is, the art of the sale. I know that's Trump's book, but we will do that. We will do that so that you get the words. But if you're not using all the products, I promise you that will help start this wheel in motion of loving them and wanting everybody, almost like the enthusiasm that I was telling you about that I had of, you got to try this, you got to try this. And it's your enthusiasm. They will buy from you. If they can't afford it, they'll make payments. They'll do parties like Marianne said. But get your hand out of their pocketbook and go be who you are meant to be. Okay? Have a great night.
Okay.
Yeah.